And we are back with episode 27 of IcoPod. I'm Bob Conley Jr. live in my apartment living room. And joining me from his closet in Orlando, Florida, Austin Skinner.
Oh yeah, and this time I'm not talking on a fucking iPhone headset.
Yes, you've upgraded to an actual microphone.
Yes, hopefully it sounds a little better than the last 2 weeks. Bear with us. My next kind of process of elimination is if this week and next week sound a little bit rough and like I'm still under fucking water, we're gonna move from the closet from here on out. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Where would you possibly go?
I have a really nice like porch, like a screened in porch, but like you're gonna hear probably everything outside, which sucks because I'd love to do it out there.
Right.
Um, so I think my next bet is going to be the living room. Possibly, you might get a little bit more background noise because it is a more open room. Um, but we'll see. We'll see how this goes.
Well, I do it in my living room. I don't feel like there's a lot of background noise or anything.
Yeah, well, I didn't want to bring this up, Bob, but I have a girlfriend. You know, we also
Still? That's still a thing?
I tried to avoid bringing that up because I know it's a sore subject for you. But yes, that's still a thing.
Wow, I thought for sure that would have fizzled by now. And for about I think the third week in a row now, I've knocked my microphone with my hand because I'm used to not having free room without you by my side.
Yeah, you're used to me sitting on your goddamn lap. So
Yeah, yeah,
I don't
those are
know
good
about
times.
I was sure jizzling sitting next to you, buddy.
Wow. All right. Well, it's a good thing you're about 1,000 miles away.
Doesn't change a damn thing.
Yeah, I suppose not. So we are here with episode 27. We are, I guess, in the summer now, officially the summer of 1993 for the World Wrestling Federation. These next 2 weeks. I actually have quite a few fan feedback, if you want to call it that, or their opinions on some things. And of course, at the end of this episode, we're going to have our or our mid-year awards.
Yes, yes.
So I know I filled out mine. I'm assuming you filled out yours.
Yes, I have mine. So we're doing it at the end though, not the beginning.
Correct, at the end. And there's, I believe, a handful of people sent me in theirs as well. So I will be reading those as well.
Cool.
If you want to send anything along like they did, you can either do it to the IcoPod page on Facebook, which they lost $17 billion today. So I don't know how much longer that will be around because there's stock. So that's cool. And then you can send it an email at icopodcast@gmail.com. Pass it along, and we will eventually get it read on the air here.
Mm-hmm.
Before we get into any of the actual June 20th Raw, I have some observer notes, and in part of the observer notes, Dave Meltzer went to a house show. So I'll read through kind of what he maybe experienced. Because they did this also, I believe, in May, if I recall correctly.
I think I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, it was like Bret Hart and like Lex Luger or something in the main event. But observer notes, the feud between Sherry Martel and Luna Vachon, which we both pretty much enjoyed for what we saw of it, has been cooled off on television because Sherry has given her notice and will be leaving the company to attend a beauty school starting in the first week in September.
No.
Yeah, and this is also part of why Luna is now managing Bam Bam Bigelow.
Okay, that makes sense.
A beauty school, though.
Yeah, isn't that kind of the opposite of the idea?
I would think so.
Yeah. You're supposed to be scary Sherry, not beautiful.
Well, sensational.
Nah.
She I remember like a Coliseum video release. I want to say like Rampage or something. She had like a beauty scene or whatever. So I guess it was always right there for us.
Yeah.
As you pretend to vomit. That's really great.
Well.
As I mentioned, Dave Meltzer went to a house show on June 25th at the Oakland Coliseum. And it was before 4,000 fans with a house of 44,000. Kids, their tickets were discounted to $3 per ticket.
Shit.
I mean, I would go if I was a kid for $3.
I'd sneak in as a 12-year-old for $3.
You could pass as one.
Ah.
supposed to be a compliment. You're supposed to just go with it.
Well, not all of us look like we're 50 years old, Bob.
You're an asshole. Thanks a lot. You know, I went to New Hampshire last weekend, and I went to the Longhorn Steakhouse, and I had my ID ready and everything. I was like, I'd like a vodka Sprite.
Yeah.
Guy didn't even ask for my ID. He's like, okay. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, you're done, dude. Those days are over.
It's over for sure. He notes that the crowd was a lot more lively than the previous show in about a year.
Okay.
And it was much better than the usual house show, although there were 2 matches that were worse than horrible. So I'll just run down. I don't know if I'm going to read this whole entire thing. It's like 3 pages of stuff that I copy and pasted in here, but we'll just go with it. So the first match was 1-2-3 Kid, and he defeated Terry Taylor in about 12 minutes. 12:31. Apparently it was a lot better than your typical opener.
Okay.
And the last few minutes were really good with near falls going back and forth. And he actually 1-2-3 Kid got a lot of he got a good reaction for his those kicks in the corner he does, like the spin kicks and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Kawada style kicks, I guess is what they would be called. Which, according to Meltzer, the people have never seen before. I don't know how accurate that is. He gave about 3 stars though.
Okay, that's pretty good for a house show.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Terry Taylor could be a serviceable hand, with a guy like Kid. And I've noticed, I think Kid's going to make people look substantially better than maybe what they are. But we'll get into that, I think, next week. Papa Shango pinned Kamala in the second match in about 9 minutes. And needless to say, Meltzer didn't like this. He gave it -3 stars.
Oh, wow.
Kamala's your favorite guy.
Well, I'm sure Kimchi wasn't ringside, so that attributes some of the negative stars. If he's ringside, they're getting at least a 1 because you have the 1 star on the outside of the ring.
Right. Okay.
Of course, Kimchi. But yeah, I still don't really understand why or how Papa Shango is getting booked on WWF programs. I think that ship has sailed. It's either time to take him off the road or totally repackage him, because it's like
I would have to think a repackage.
Yeah, we're way beyond that. It's time for Papa Shango to unfortunately wave bye-bye.
Yeah, I mean, he was one of my favorites growing up, even though he was a heel. So I was like, at 93, I was about 4 years old. I always just liked him. I always liked his music and his look. Mm-hmm. He was a bad guy. But I was like, Papa Shango's cool with me. The smoking skull or whatever.
Right, yeah, with the little fog that comes out of it.
Yeah. Meltzer did also note that Kamala's facials were great because he was acting as if he was scared of voodoo.
No, that's one thing about Kamala, man, that he's got down pat, is those facials. Because even, I think it's this episode of Raw that we see him again. And that's one of the things that I noticed. Yeah, it's Kamala, but he hasn't lost that. He hasn't lost the ability to sell his facial emotions.
Yeah. The third match on the house show was the Head Shrinkers defeating the Smoking Guns in 12.5 minutes. Meltzer notes that the Guns are still pretty green, which I think we also noticed that in the Money Incorporated match.
Yeah.
The Wrestling Challenge. And he gives it 3.5 stars.
I bet you it was pretty damn good.
Yeah, I remember in the fan cams that I've reviewed for WrestlingRecaps.com, cheap plug, boom, that they work pretty well. I mean, the Smoking Guns are, scrawny looking guys, and then the Head Shrinkers are your muscle tag team. So it's kind of a recipe for usually a good match, and they usually delivered. So
yeah, and the Head Shrinkers too, I think they know enough to be able to carry a team like that through the motions. Because it's not like the Smoking Guns have nothing. There's raw talent there. They just need somebody to kind of polish them throughout their match, it seems like, at this point.
Yeah, I mean, they're not being presented. They're not in a spot right now where they need to carry the company, the tag teams. That's the Steiner brothers. So they can get the 6 months to a year to figure out what they got to do, and they can take over from there.
Yep.
The fourth match on the card here was The Undertaker defeating Giant Gonzalez by disqualification in 5 minutes and 36 seconds. Probably it features, I guess, one of the worst chair shots in the history of professional wrestling. I'm assuming the Giant Gonzalez delivered to The Undertaker.
Have you seen this?
No. This is
Oh,
Dave Meltzer
oh,
in
that's what he
his
said. Okay.
what he was saying. He says, I didn't think it was possible for Gonzalez to actually get worse. And he gave it -4.
Oh, I gotta see that. I gotta find that footage somewhere. That
I don't know. I don't know if I have this house show on DVD or not, because back then a lot of people would film them, especially in
right,
Oakland. So
right. Yeah, you'd get somebody either in the first or second couple of rows who would do it.
no, it'd be like the nosebleeds.
Oh, way back.
Yeah, but that's the best. That's the best thing. So like when they go, like people in the Garden, there's a
Yeah,
bunch of Madison Square Garden shows out there on fan cams. If you're like in the upper levels, you're gonna see the whole ring
right.
compared to like if you're in the fourth row.
Oh,
So
okay.
like the elevation of it is like makes it a lot better.
Yeah, and think I guess the curtain call video,
Right.
something like that.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I guess I must have been. Well, because what are pretty good? Isn't ECW fan cams pretty good?
Well, that's like legitimately right at ringside.
Yeah, that's what I'm
That's like Rob
thinking.
Feinstein. Hey,
That's
I'll pretend you said you were 18 guy, and all those guys are like filming the shows.
he was real close up, if you know what I mean.
Real close. Real close.
Nice, Bob. Nice.
The fifth match on the show is Tatanka, and he battled Bam Bam Bigelow to a double countout in 9 minutes and 43 seconds.
Mm.
Now, he notes that the match got dull in the middle as Bigelow was kind of working the crowd up, stalling, whatever like that. They brought to the floor, and then Tatanka gave Bigelow a backsplash, and they were both counted out. Got a start in 3/4.
See, I'm surprised because I feel like those two guys, especially with like the little bit of heat that they kind of have, I feel like they could have decent matches. So I'm surprised to hear that they didn't really, I don't know, that they didn't really come through with their
I wonder if they
performance.
didn't set him up to have like great matches, because so coming out, so what they just had here is like Undertaker Gonzalez. I mean, I would assume maybe the fans would be like, "Oh shit, yeah, here we go." So maybe on some level it's like a cool down match.
Yeah, it's kind of what it seems to be positioned as. Yeah.
Yeah, because the final two matches are like, I guess, you're kind of co-main events.
Right.
It's kind of a weird placement for two guys that could, like you said, maybe worked well together, to be put in a spot to not really excel. Kind
Right.
of weird.
You look at the juxtaposition of that. So you got Undertaker Gonzalez, who realistically are kind of through their feud because Undertaker's feuding with
Hughes.
Hughes. Yeah. To compare that to Bam Bam and Tatanka, nothing really has happened yet. So you'd think it'd be the opposite. You'd use the Undertaker Gonzalez as kind of a, and then, but wait, there's going to be some further development between Bam Bam and Tatanka. You got to see this kind of thing. But I think it's more or less the attraction part of it. Undertaker, Giant Gonzalez. For
Yeah.
the whole crowd, I think you have to go with that. But I could see kind of how I would have done it the other way around, probably.
I think I would have. I think I would have had Bigelow, Tatanka like kill it,
Yeah.
have your intermission, and then come back with Taker or Gonzalez or something like that.
Right. Right.
The sixth match on the show saw WWF Intercontinental Champion Shawn Michaels pin Mr. Perfect in 16 minutes and 25 seconds to retain the title. The first 10 minutes was mainly stalling and rest holds,
Oh,
but Meltzer says that once it started getting going, it was pretty great. So I guess like 6.5 minutes of a match is pretty great.
mm,
Mr. Or Diesel gets involved, and that allows Michaels to hit Perfect with a super kick for the win. And then Perfect was continued to be beat down, and after the match, Bigelow came out to make it a 3-on-1. Tatanka tried to make the save, but he was laid out as well. Meltzer says it was a good old style angle to build up a match on the next house show. 3.5 stars.
wow. Hmm. That sounds a little bit like a cluster at the end, though. I don't know.
Well, yeah, the interference by Diesel to allow the super kick, maybe protecting Perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. Which I guess I get. Especially if they're going to build towards a major feud for those two guys. Um, I would have been interested to see that match personally, for sure.
Well, I mean, if I was just reading it, they go 16.5 minutes. The first 10 minutes is nothing but stalling and rest holds.
Well, yeah.
And you know how I kind of feel about Perfect for most of this half year. It's like, ugh.
Yeah, that wouldn't have helped.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly would not have helped.
No.
The main event is Lex Luger defeating Razor Ramon in 6 minutes and 10 seconds with his forearm. I'm assuming the illegal forearm.
Ah,
Meltzer notes that they tried real hard, but it was pretty bad.
oof.
And that none of it really made any. No one knew how to react to this because Razor Ramon's working as a face,
Yeah, yeah,
but he's still a heel on TV. So
right.
there's no way of understanding what's going on there, and nobody cares about Lex Luger.
Wow, that's what he said?
Yep.
Oof.
So no one cares about Luger. I got 3/4 of a star.
Wow, not even a full, huh?
Can't
Shame.
say that I'm surprised by that.
Yeah, you know what? And I feel, especially with Luger, you need someone in there who can fucking go and who's going to bump around and go. Not saying Scott Hall doesn't, but it's not really Scott Hall, Razor Ramon's style to do that.
Right.
So I could,
He's like a brawler.
yeah, it's like an odd pairing, especially to confuse the fans, between really what's going on with Luger and what's going on with Razor Ramon. They're both kind of really up in the air right now. So to have them two main event is really weird to me. Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
don't. I think I would have maybe. I think I would have put Michaels in perfect in that spot.
for the main event.
Yeah, instead of Luger and Ramon. I mean, that's just a random main event anyway. It's not like they've had any.
Oh yeah, there's nothing. There's no heat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
unless it's in reference to the May house show or whatever. I think like Ramon got involved with Luger and Brett, so it might be like a continuation there or something.
I mean, I guess. Yeah, and I hate to say this, but I don't think Ramon really has been positioned as a main event guy anymore at this point.
No,
So I guess the fact that Luger kind of makes sense, and maybe Ramon's trying to build his way back there. Maybe I could buy into that, but I think that's a poor booking decision to have those two square off in the main event.
yeah. I'm just going to read here what they have announced for the next show and kind of, I guess, the plans for late August on house shows. The next show is announced as being August 20th in San Francisco. It will feature 1-2-3 Kid against Doink, Crush against Bastion Booger, Steiner's defending the tag titles against the Head Shrinkers, Undertaker versus Mr. Hughes, a 6-man tag match where it'll be Bam Bam Bigelow, Shawn Michaels, and Diesel taking on Marty Jannetty, Tatanka, and Mr. Perfect, Randy Savage against Giant Gonzalez, and Yokozuna defending the WWF World Championship against Bret Hart inside of a steel cage. Now, in some cities, it's Yokozuna defending against Undertaker in a cage. And also, there's some where Randy Savage and Undertaker are teaming up to take on Gonzalez and Mr. Hughes. And then there's Kid versus Shango and also some Doink and Doink. So they're double Doinks taking on Crush and Savage. So those are kind of what they're running for the month of August, it would appear.
You know what? Most of that sounds pretty strong.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah. I would even say some of the swap outs are still pretty decent. Even some of the mix ups with the tags and stuff like that. The cage matches sound really interesting.
Yep.
Um, Especially, I love the cage matches where it's a big guy versus a small. It's like a caveman thing. It's like this big monster in there with like this littler guy, and they're in a cage and they gotta fight it out.
Yeah,
Um,
like the small guy's like trapped, and this guy's
yeah,
just gonna have fun with him.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
I really like that. And Bret Hart has an awesome fucking cage match, a really good cage match. Um, just in general, like he excels. I think his style, especially because it's so kind of rough as it is. So to throw a cage in there, like I always like Bret Hart cage matches, so I would be very, very interested in going to those shows for that and a lot of the other matches, really.
Yeah, I know. I think this one is a fan cam that I have, and the Yoko Brett cage matches are pretty good. At least the one that I saw from Madison Square Garden around that same time. Uh, Oddly enough, though, the like double doinks against Crush Savage. I know, like last week or whatever, I was kind of like, oh, doink. I'm not really. I would maybe want to see that.
Yeah, yeah, I would be very interested to see. Well, because we've seen them both on one, but we've not seen them both wrestling. at once.
Yeah.
So it would be interesting to see kind of how they played that.
Yeah. They have not been, I guess, acknowledged by the bookers of the WWF. So, final two things here of news. The Royal Rumble video game, which as a kid I played religiously, has been getting some great reviews. I don't know if I would agree with that, just because, I mean, I could never figure out how to not just punch somebody. I never knew how to do a finishing move. I would just hit A and B all the time and just hope to God I would win. So
That's all you need. That's all you need.
That's all you need to do. And knock out the referee, get the steel chair, and then whack the guy and win.
How do you think Lex Luger's getting through his matches? He's going in, pressing A and B the whole time, and hopefully some shit happens and he gets a pin. That's what he's doing. And he don't even like video games, and that's what he's doing.
Do you think the designers of the game were just like, just do what fucking Lex Luger does?
He's like, Luger, how do you do it? I go in there, and I think of 2 buttons, and that's it. Just go with it and hope I win.
Okay. Genius. He's so smart. And the June 21st edition of Raw got a 3.1 rating.
Mm.
Is that the one? That's the one with the Kid and Ramon, the rematch. So that makes sense.
Yes.
A decent little push up there.
Yeah, a little spike there.
All right. So then the house show news or report. I have 2 different house shows. I'm not going to focus on the San Francisco one that I highlighted previously. The first show took place in Boston, Massachusetts at the Boston Garden on June 26th with about 3,500 fans in attendance. And here's the card. Tito Santana is a substitute for the Predator. Couldn't tell you who that is. And he took on the Brooklyn Brawler. Mr. Hughes battled Bob Backlund. Luna Vachon continued her singles matches with Sensational Sherry. WWF World Champion Yokozuna defended against Jim Duggan in a lumberjack match. Owen Hart took on Damian Demento. Crush and Doink met in singles match again. And in the main event,
You're freezing up on me, Bob. What happened here in the main event?
Hulk Hogan and Brutus Barbeefcake teamed up to take on Money Incorporated with Sergeant Slaughter as a special guest
referee. I'm not sure if I would have gone to that show. It sounds kind of weak, to be honest with you. What do you think, Bob?
Just weak.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't have bought a ticket for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. I can't even think of really one match that stands out that I would want to see, to be honest with you.
What about Owen Hart and Damian Demento? You love Owen Hart.
No, not enough. Not enough for that.
Wow. No, yeah, I tend to agree with you. Seems like they're kind of banking on Hogan again.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Right.
Well, we can have a weak card, and then we can just hope that Hogan will save the day. So, yeah, I think that's probably a skippable show. So the next show is Long Island, New York at the Nassau, or not the Nassau. How do you say it?
The Nassau.
The
Nassau.
Nassau. I'm trying to pronounce every syllable of the word.
I know you are.
What was it? Poughkeepsie.
Yes.
No, it's on June 27th with about 6,500 fans in attendance. The
Ooh.
Brooklyn Brawler took on the Predator, which is Mike Balea.
Brother.
So I'm assuming that's Horace Hogan, maybe?
Oh.
I'm assuming that's who that would be. Owen Hart and Damian Demento met again. They must have traveled together. Sensational Sherry took on Luna Vachon. Mr. Hughes and Bob Backlund, Doink and Crush. WWF Tag Team Champions Steiner Brothers defend against Money Incorporated, and in the main event, WWF World Champion Yokozuna defends against Jim Duggan in a lumberjack match. So mostly kind of identical cards here, aside from, I guess, the tag title match.
Yeah. Again, still probably wouldn't have made it out, although 6,500 people is a good amount of people.
But I don't think I'm going to go to that one either. I think I might wait till August.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Especially with over. Absolutely.
Yeah. I just got one piece of syndication news, and it is Bam Bam Bigelow revealing on the June 26th edition of Superstars that he had fallen in love, and he introduced Luna Vachon as his valet.
Mm-hmm.
So,
we get a little action.
Yeah. I wonder if he took it to Luna, like behind Shawn's back feud.
You got a few Bam Bams in there. Wham Bam, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Greetings from Ashbury Park.
That's right.
Nice. I don't blame him.
Top rope diving headbutt.
Yeah, she's a beautiful woman.
Right to her groin. That'd be fun.
Right. And her two-tone lips.
Okay. I tried to not.
Imagine licking that face.
Well, can you just imagine what she would sound like? Oh yeah, like just losing it. Yeah, like I don't even know. I felt like I was having a seizure trying to do an impersonation there. Luckily, I failed. So.
No, sorry about that, folks.
Yeah. So this leads us right into the June 28th edition of Raw. Hopefully, we don't freeze up during this part of it like we did during the other part. I'm going to keep it in there because, hey,
we're live, pal.
We're live, and I am not going to sit down and edit.
No, it was quick, guys. It was quick. Give us a break. We're still working the kinks out.
That's why I don't have a girlfriend.
Oh, right, because you freeze.
Quick.
Oh. Yeah.
I'm quick.
Right. Oh, okay.
I'm quick, and then I freeze.
Yeah, we're learning a lot about you today, Bob.
Hey, I had a vodka Sprite earlier, so I'm just whatever, man.
You're fucking hammered.
I'm not hammered. If I was hammered, it would be for next week's episode. That's when I'll be hammered.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. June 28th, 1993 edition of Raw. We are taped from Poughkeepsie, New York. Not Poughkeepsie.
Yeah, that's what I thought, Bob. Yep.
Poughkeepsie.
Okay.
I got a lot of hate mail on that one. We just start off with a Raw opening video. This thing that we listen to anytime IcoPod starts up. And we are greeted by a good-looking ring girl in a bikini before we go to the commentators. Vince McMahon, Bobby Heenan, Randy Savage. They are at ringside to promote what we'll see on the show. They proceed to promote the Intercontinental Championship match where Shawn Michaels will defend against Kamala. Heenan thinks that Diesel will allow Michaels to retain the title. And Savage wonders if Crush can slam Bastion Booger because they'll be competing in the singles match later on tonight. And he'll do the same to Yokozuna on the 4th of July.
Oh. Yeah, so if these are the matches they're promoting right off the bat, I'm thinking, fuck. I don't want to see either of those.
Bullshit. You were all like, oh, yeah, man, Kamala. Shawn Michaels title. Let's go.
No. And by the way, the ring girl right at the beginning of this video is fucking jacked.
And she's like defined. She's toned.
She was a bodybuilder.
Yes, I would say that's probably a fair assessment.
Yeah. Yeah, so we get announced, like Bob says here, Shawn versus Kamala. One of the biggest matches of all time, Bastion Booger versus Crush. And then he does make a mention that Yokozuna will be live for an in-ring interview. They've been doing a lot of these in-ring interviews with Yokozuna and Mr. Fuji lately, kind of allowing that to get the angles through. I don't like that. I think Yokozuna's impressiveness works best in the ring. Especially kind of as we move along here. I'm going to really start to turn a little bit on those segments. But I started out stoked and excited for this episode of Raw, but after hearing these announcements here, Bob, I wasn't really feeling it.
Well, I think they do that with Yoko more so they can utilize Fuji.
Why?
Because whenever he talks, you just instantly get mad.
Yeah, I'm sold. As soon as he speaks, I'm sold on it.
No, it's just when he's cutting these promos, I can see how people would be like, wow, I really don't fucking like Mr. Fuji and Yokozuna. I personally like the interactions between Fuji and Vince McMahon.
I think those are stronger, if anything. But half the time, like I said, most of the time, I can't understand what Mr. Fuji's fucking saying. Maybe that's the gimmick.
Yokozuna.
Vince McMahon. You're like, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
What he's doing.
He's just throwing bullshit out there anyway.
Yeah, he's Fujiing it up.
Yeah, so let's just get right. I guess we'll get right into our first match here. WWF Intercontinental Champion Shawn Michaels defending against Kamala, and I don't believe Kamala's won a match in about, I don't know, 3 months, but he's somehow became the number one contender.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how I could possibly describe how uninterested I am with Kamala getting a title match on Raw.
Well, I was very interested in the, again, homosexual undertones we were getting this week. So picture this. Shawn makes his entrance with Diesel. Shawn's in all black, and Diesel was like in all stonewash, almost white, with black cowboy boots. This outfit for Diesel was like really straight out of the male strip club, I would say. Kind of the working man blue collar area. Like that's kind of what they're going for on stage. They all got jeans on, maybe a hard hat or two in the bunch, dark sunglasses, just real macho guys. That's where Diesel fits right in.
Have you been to a gay bar or strip club or whatever?
No, but I have an imagination, Bob.
Apparently, because you like really went deep into that, and even like close your eyes. Because like we're doing this on Google Hangouts where we can see each other, and you literally had your eyes closed and you were licking your lips.
Well, good thing you were focused on my face.
Can't see anything else there, pal.
You think that wasn't by design? Macho man.
Oh boy.
Yeah, but that jumped to mind immediately. I was just like, oh, these outfits aren't doing these guys any favors, because if you remember, Shawn's been getting, you know, excuse my French, but faggot chants.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know if he's just trying to play that to the nines and be like, hey, Diesel, wear this, or what.
Well, do you think he's playing up to that by actually banging Diesel?
Well, if he wants to live the gimmick and make it in the business.
Hey, man, it's early 90s. I wonder if he was like, hey, Nash, you got to come in. And Nash was like, cool, man. But then Michaels was like, listen, they're calling me a faggot. We got a bone.
Time to sell the gimmick.
Yeah. And he probably was like, what? And then he probably was like, hey, there's a comma in your paycheck. And he was like, okay, I'll do it. Yeah, that's probably why they're so close.
Yeah, if there's money involved or money changing hands, Nash is into it. So
yeah, I believe it. All right, so I guess I'll just get into the action here, and save you the misery of having to read it.
Oh, gee, thanks.
Early on, Michaels backs to the corner and begs off from Kamala due to the threat of a overhand chop. Kamala gets early momentum, and then Michaels backs off again to the corner, again backing off. Michaels wants to shake hands, and instead gets his hand bitten.
A lot of stalling. There's a lot of stalling in the beginning, and let me tell you.
Well, it was like comedy too, though. It was just like,
yeah,
I wasn't into it.
Kamala's got no reaction.
No, none. When he was coming in, I don't know if it was this one or maybe I'm thinking of something else, but the fan or like McMahon or somebody was like, look at that, the crowd is going nuts for Kamala. I was like, no, they're not. They don't really care about the guy.
They were barely watching him as he made his entrance.
Yeah, they're standing up for Kamala, and I was like, no, they're pretty much just like, who's he fighting, or like, get this over with.
Right.
They didn't care about it.
They find out, a lot of people start sitting down. Like as soon as, you know what I mean, Kamala's out, they're like, fuck.
Yeah. Kamala chops Michaels a few times, and then Shawn bails to the floor to regroup with his gay lover, Diesel. Kamala drags Michaels back into the ring and delivers a scoop slam, but misses a splash in the corner as Shawn got his knees up. Michaels comes off the middle rope, but is caught with a bear hug as we go to our first commercial break. Back from break, Kamala almost has it won, but he's as he's kept the bear hug locked in on the canvas. Michaels breaks free and goes around ringside before getting back in the ring and stomps on Kamala. Kamala avoids a drop kick, and Michaels crashes to the mat. They collide in the corner, but Kamala keeps control before missing a running knee strike, and he hits the top turnbuckle. Michaels beats on Kamala with stomps on the mat. Michaels keeps control, working over the left knee for a few moments. Kamala avoids a figure 4 by flipping Michaels over by his hair a few times. Michaels is kicked shoulder first into the ring post, and then Kamala dumps Michaels over the top to the floor. Kamala hits a splash, but guess what? He still doesn't know how to pin somebody. So they're all like, come on, just turn him over. 1, 2, 3, we can do it. Hey, whatever. So Diesel gets on the apron and distracts Kamala. The distraction allows Michaels to hit the super kick from behind and then wins the match. And then, I guess, in a way to just completely discredit the finish, Kamala quickly gets up and chops Michaels several times.
Yeah.
Diesel comes in and clotheslines Kamala from behind and beats on him with right hands. Diesel knocks Kamala out with another right hand punch. And then I have it noted here that Diesel looks incredibly awkward when he's stomping on someone. Because that's how I guess you could say the match or segment ends. But it was just, it's like Razor Ramon in his knee lifts. He doesn't bend his knee. Diesel doesn't like fully extend his leg out. So it's just looks weird, I guess.
Yeah. I have a few notes on this match, not nearly as much move for move as you did, Bob.
Go ahead.
A lot of stalling. And it kind of seemed like Kamala was just stumbling around through this match. I could tell that Michaels was really trying to force him to work harder than normal just to keep up. And I think you could tell Kamala was kind of off his pacing because it just wasn't very clean. Like there was a lot of kind of just stumbling for Kamala. Just the bear hug on the mat and stuff like that. It's just like, and then to continue to go for the handshakes. Very much a filler match. Randomly in here, Savage goes, I love when he pats his belly. He's got the soul inside. Like trying to, I don't know, sell the fact that Kamala slaps his stomach still. I thought that was funny that Savage likes that about Kamala, that he pats his belly. Not that he wrestles or has a chance to win the IC title right here or anything like that. But yeah, the whole finish was very kind of quick, I would say, because so they go into it. Kamala gets distracted. Diesel's up on the apron. Shawn's little kick that he does, the Savate kick, or if they're calling it the super kick at this point, it looked very weak and maybe only connected like between Kamala's shoulder blades. Like it didn't even look like it was the back of his head. So for that to be kind of the finish, I thought that was stupid, especially for the IC champion and fucking Kamala. Like, come on, you couldn't beat the guy.
Well, I thought it was kind of stupid that they had Diesel be the distraction.
Yeah.
For Kamala.
Right. Why do you need that? You don't need that.
Yeah.
I did like the post-match segment because it gives Diesel a reason to be at ringside. Like he's got to pull Shawn away and keep Kamala away. But going back to what you were talking about, dude. Oh my God.
With the stomps?
Diesel still looks like a J-Bron for that.
It really does.
Yeah, from even like last time we saw him, he was in like the windbreaker outfit, looking like a J-Bron. These, oh my God, man. The little kicks and the little short punches. And
yeah.
I don't know if he just wasn't comfortable in the cowboy boots or maybe they were Shawn's and they were too small. But first of all, there's no force or impact behind him. And you can visually tell that. Like when he's kicking Kamala, you can tell he's not doing it.
No, he looks like a girl in high heels trying to kick somebody.
Yeah, it was pathetic, I would say, was the word that came to mind. Although he did hit a pretty vicious clothesline at first. He clotheslined Kamala down pretty good, but then proceeded to follow it up with the girliest punches and kicks I've ever seen from a 7-foot man.
Yeah, those were not.
Yeah, it was not good. That was not good.
Yeah.
I liked the idea. I like the idea that Diesel comes in. He's the bodyguard. He's going to rough the guy up and keep Shawn away from danger. But the execution, oof.
Yeah, definitely poorly executed.
Very poorly. And it didn't do Diesel any favors. If anything, now he looks even worse. They
should have done a quick like cutaway to the announcers of how bad it was. And like the announcers could cover like, oh, they're just beating up real bad. We had to turn it away. But it's really because Diesel's just awful at
it's horrible.
kicking anybody.
I would have just left it at the clothesline. Like just
Yeah.
clothesline Kamala and leave it there because oh dude. I'm picturing them kicks right now and it's funny to me. His little black cowboy boots just kicking away almost like if a dog steps in a puddle, it like kicks his paw away. That's what it looked like. It was horrible. Horrible.
I just picture like a drunk girl trying to kick somebody.
Right, yeah, in high heels. That's a good
That's the major one that came from me.
yeah.
All right,
Horrible.
so needless to say, the opening match not very ideal
No.
to start off Raw.
No.
So we go from there into a video promoting the Stars and Stripes challenge, and it's noted that Hulk Hogan couldn't slam them, and that Yokozuna has gone through everyone put in his way. So who is anyone capable of slamming Yokozuna this Sunday on the USS Intrepid?
Yeah, it's a very dramatic video. So everything's kind of in black and white. You get glimpses of the ship, of Yokozuna, some of the things he's done, but they make a very, very clear and poignant point with Hogan not slamming Yokozuna. They like that's the main point I feel like of this video is to it's hyping up the show, but Hogan couldn't do it, so who's gonna do it?
Well, that seems to be like if someone were to do it, that's their way of trying to elevate them past Hogan.
Exactly.
Because they go, Crush could do it. But remember, like Hulk Hogan couldn't, but Crush did.
Right.
That's
how I took it. That's how
that's how I interpreted it.
Yeah, completely.
Back to the arena, Vince McMahon is in the ring and he's there to interview the WWF World Champion Yokozuna and Mr. Fuji. The fans are chanting for USA, and then McMahon runs down what Fuji's plan is, how he's going to basically ruin an important day for America on July 4th. Fuji says that they have challenged any athlete to try and slam Yokozuna. They want to embarrass the United States even more. McMahon reminds Fuji that this isn't the first time that someone has tried to embarrass the United States. McMahon thinks America doesn't need sympathy, but every time they are boxed into the corner and someone steps up to the plate, they hit a home run.
Yeah.
There's a look on McMahon's face showing emotion when he's all doing this, and he glances at Yokozuna in immediate fear. I haven't noted there. I thought that was a pretty interesting thing. He's like, we hit a home run. He looks over to Yoko's like, oh man, don't hit me. Yeah. I thought that was pretty clever of McMahon to do that.
Well, and you know what, too? I think he's letting himself get pulled into the moment a little bit here, which was good because Fuji was pulling me out of it. But as soon as Vince started getting fired up and like really passionate about his little portion of the segment here, I was pulled right back in. Because Vince he was like in Fuji's face about the whole America standing up to the plate thing. And I was pulled right back in because of Vince's little passionate tirade here that he went on.
Well, I think he's done this a couple of times. Not even just with necessarily Yoko and Fuji, but I think also with like Money Incorporated and the Hulkamaniacs or whatever.
Yeah, he almost tries to stand his ground more. You know what I mean?
He tries to like rile them up with like an impassionate phrase, and then as soon as they start talking, he's just like big gulp, and then he just listens.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lack of appreciation for McMahon in that sense. That he kind of enhances segments.
Yeah, he sells them. It feels more real with him.
Yeah. Fuji shuts down everything that McMahon just said, and he wants to see tears coming out of the eyes of kids. McMahon thinks that this plan is going to backfire on July 4th. Yokozuna says that American athletes are just like American products. They are no good. McMahon finishes it off by saying that come July 4th, they are going to be remembering one thing. And then he pretty much has the fans chant USA. I'll tell you right now, I'd not like Yokozuna doing like cheap heel comments like that. I'd rather him... No. I would rather him not say a damn word.
Dude, all right, so after Vince gets passionate, Fuji comes up with a couple good lines. He says that Hulkamania and the little Hulkamanias are dead. because Hogan's knees buckled when he tried to lift Yokozuna. And he also says, of course, that if Hogan can't do it, nobody can. And that WWF champion will be Yokozuna from now until forever. He also says that Yokozuna is going to retire as the champion, and he's going to give the WWF championship to the Imperial Palace of Japan to display proudly behind the glass forever. So okay, I'm all good with those comments by Fuji. I think it helps. For once, Fuji helped. Right. Then the microphone gets passed in Yokozuna's direction. And in the most normal English voice we've heard of giant man's mouth in the WWF, it literally no accent, nothing. Just normal voice, deep voice. And like Bob says, he literally says, American athletes are just like American products. They're no good. Banzai. It was horrible. It almost was like a voiceover. You don't expect a perfect English voice to come out of this giant, quote unquote, Japanese sumo guy. It was so ridiculous. Completely killed any momentum that Vince and Fuji had built. Whoever's giving the directive to Yoko to talk and verbalize is just way off the rails. Like that doesn't work. It's destroying the mystique of Yokozuna. The mystique was a couple months ago, the guy would come in, not say shit. You don't know what he sounds like, decimate a guy, and have his Japanese flag waved by Mr. Fuji, and they walk out. That's what Yokozuna needed to stay. It's so the Yokozuna of now, of July, to the Yokozuna of, let's say, February, July, or January, February, completely different characters. They've completely changed his character. And it's a shame. It's really a shame because there's really I don't think there's much value in Yokozuna anymore.
I was thinking the same thing. Literally, I think everything you said is spot on.
Yeah, it sucks. It sucks because Yokozuna a couple months ago was probably my favorite guy on the roster.
Well, yeah, when he's like killing Duggan and Savage and all these guys, or just jobbers or enhancement guys on TV, just coming to the ring, kicking ass, and then leaving and having in the WWF. Like, it's simple.
And leading into WrestleMania, you're thinking out of anybody, Bret Hart has no chance, and it's fucking Bret Hart. I went into WrestleMania thinking there is no way Bret Hart's going to win the match. As a fan, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for Yokozuna to fall so far from grace so quickly, in less than a year, couple months, is so. It's a shame. It's devastating to that effect, for that character to not have any momentum anymore.
I wonder how much Hogan pinning him at the end of WrestleMania 9 really impacted all of this.
I think that's a major mistake, but how you handle that mistake moving forward makes or breaks Yokozuna. And I think the way they handled it moving forward broke him. He did not recover. I think he could have, but that's not the direction they went in.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if creatively they were thinking, if the guy doesn't talk, kind of like Sabu, some 20 years later when he would be there, or 10 years or whatever. How marketability, you can't market someone if they don't talk.
I guess, but I mean, look at Kane. I think Kane.
No, I'm not agreeing with the mindset that it doesn't, like it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
Because if you just kept it to Yokozuna and Fuji doing the talking, that's all I need.
Right.
And I mean, and like I think I might have mentioned this before in an earlier episode, but like I know people who are annoyed when if someone comes in here from a different country and they don't know the language, like learn to speak the language, that's what people will say. So you could even play that card, like he doesn't know the language, he doesn't want to learn it, so he's not going to talk to you.
Yeah.
That could piss him off even more and be like, well, fuck you then. It's not like we're going to Japan and not learning how to speak Japanese.
Right.
You
Right.
know?
Yeah, it adds to the heel character.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. And if you were to ever turn Yokozuna face, you'd be like, oh, I learned fucking English or whatever.
Right. Right. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like it. It's just, it drives me nuts.
Well, we have what? About 2 more years of Yokozuna to see how this whole career spans out here.
Yeah.
George Martin, who plays for the New York Giants, cuts a promo saying that they are doing this for the good old USA. This is, of course, in reference to the Body Slam Challenge.
Mhm.
We also hear from Jim Kappen from the Packers, and says he kills 600-pound grizzlies and knows that he can slam Yokozuna. And then we also hear from Tatanka, who says that he is confident he can slam Yokozuna as well. He isn't going to let Yokozuna embarrass the USA. And of course, he does his little yay afterwards.
What do you, Bob? How do you feel about them bringing in, whether they're C-level guys or not? How do you feel about them bringing in other athletes to kind of promote this event?
I hate it.
Do you?
Yeah, because I mean, I get the idea here of like, oh, maybe a guy in the Packers can slam him or whatever. I know they have. Well, again, I don't know much about, I guess, early '90s sports because I haven't really studied it. But I know like Scott Burrell for the Hornets kind of was like a decent player. He was a high draft pick. Like he'll be part of it as well. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know. As a fan, it's like I wouldn't care. Like I wouldn't want one of those guys to slam Yokozuna.
Right.
Because that would like fucking kill a guy even worse.
Well, and the whole thing I can't help but to think is, if I'm strictly a wrestling fan in 1993, not only do I not know who any of these athletes are, but if one of them can slam one of our biggest monsters and Hulk Hogan couldn't, that makes the entire wrestling business look like bullshit, I think.
Well, and I think it also cements it as being a work.
Right, right. And then, so if I'm now on the opposite hand, if I am, say, a general sports fan and I don't like wrestling, and I hear about these, this George Martin or this Jim guy from the Packers coming in for this some wrestling event, I'm thinking it's like, especially with like the tap, because I don't know, these guys don't seem. I've never heard of these guys, so I can't imagine. Maybe it seems like a pity thing, like, oh, they're just going there to, like, a pity thing. Like, oh, go to the wrestling thing.
Yeah.
Don't take it serious. Just go.
Well, I mean, I want to say the guy from the Jim from the Packers, like he tried to make it like a wrestling promo.
Yeah.
Didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
So it's like it's also kind of mocking what
Right.
the entertainment that is professional wrestling. They're not taking it seriously. Just like, oh yeah, I've killed grizzlies. I'll go slam Yokozuna.
Right. Right. It's like your dumb friend who doesn't really know anything about wrestling.
Yeah.
He just throws out brother. Like, oh, he comes to talk and, all right, cut me a wrestling promo. He just says brother the whole time.
Or like, I can I'll dig it.
Yeah, he doesn't know anything about
stupid.
Wrestling. He's just trying to sound like a wrestler.
Yeah.
So I don't think really either side is taking it serious. Although, that said, I do like the fact of other people. I think anytime you can get anybody from any different business, TV wise, I think it's good. I think it's good for your product because hopefully it's getting to different eyes. And hopefully it makes a headline somewhere, whether it's in friggin' Green Bay, Wisconsin, like whatever. I don't know. Would I have Jay Leno slamming Hulk Hogan? No, no, I fucking would
Well,
not.
here's the thing. I hate it. I despise it so much. It'd be different if these guys were all retired.
Yeah.
And they weren't doing it. Because it's not like you're not going to see Yokozuna become a defensive lineman for the Packers for one Sunday. You know, I mean, that's just not going to happen.
Oh, I guess that's a good point. Yeah.
Bret Hart's not going to be the shooting guard for the New York Knicks for a game.
For 3 plays.
Yeah, I mean, it just completely discredits the sport. You know, if they're wrestling a sport. You know, that's what they try to portray it as. Completely discredits it because that means like anybody can just walk right in and be like, "Oh, I'm a wrestler now." You can't just be like, "Hey, Nix, I'm your power forward right now, and you're going to deal with it."
And fans are going to be like, "Oh, is he going to be the player of the game?"
Yeah, like
no.
Or like, you know, it's the NBA Finals and it's tied, 97-97. Is like suddenly Bret Hart's music going to hit and he's going to come out of the tunnel like, "Yeah, brother, put me in. I'll hit a 3. You know, we'll win the game." No. I'm not going to see George Martin coming out of the USS Intrepid and slamming the Yokozuna and then going into training camp for the Giants. Like, I don't like it. I've never liked it. Keep them separated. Don't bring them in there, and certainly don't put them over any of the wrestlers. I've hated that.
That's a fair point, Bob. I think you win that one. I mean, I don't know. I like when they try to do different stuff and not the same stuff all the time. But I don't know. Yeah, you're right.
I mean, there's no way a football player would possibly main event a WrestleMania, right? That wouldn't happen. All right. I didn't think that would ever.
No.
That'd be pretty. Yeah, I mean, I'd probably stop doing this podcast if that ever fucking happened.
I played
and then he won or something.
Yeah, but
and then never saw him again.
Right.
That would never happen.
Right.
Anyway, continuing on here with Raw, the second match of the evening is the Smoking Guns taking on Iron Mike Sharp and everyone's favorite loser, Barry Horowitz.
Yeah, real quick too, as these guys are coming out, Vince says that the person who can slam Yokozuna will be the lucky recipient of a brand new red, white, and blue pickup truck. Who the fuck wants that?
Somebody in '93 does.
Yeah, from Alabama, maybe.
Oh, they still count.
Nobody fucking wants a red, white, and blue pickup truck. What's a millionaire football player gonna do with a fucking red, white, and blue pickup truck?
Probably sell it to a guy in Alabama for double the value and they not realize it. Shit, honey, I just bought this truck for $100,000 from Brett Favre. Can you believe it?
Well, I'll tell you what. I think that's the last time we hear about the red, white, and blue pickup truck. I don't remember hearing about it any other time.
It might not have even been a thing.
Probably not.
Well, wait. You said it goes to whoever does it?
Yeah, whoever slams them.
Okay.
Doubt it.
Yeah, I think the person who wins it's probably like, just give me some extra money.
I guarantee you that.
Yeah, that's cool. So what do you got on this little enhancement match between the Guns and Sharp and Horowitz?
Yeah, so Bart and Billy came down to the ring to meet, of course, Iron Mike Sharp and Barry Horowitz. Billy and Sharp started it off, and they started it off with kind of a lockup and then broke it off. It was like a stalemate. Sharp then hit Horowitz on accident, giving Billy and Bart the upper hand here to start the match off. And we got right into a roll here. So Mike bailed out of the ring, slowed the pace, back down. So as soon as we started getting up, it went back down again. And that's kind of usual of matches. So I was like, okay. I was also expecting to get kind of a competitive match here between these guys, maybe, just to see a little bit more of what the Guns can offer. We'll see as the match continues here. So Bart gets tagged in and got Mike with a small package after some rope running, which I hate when they do that.
I feel like we've seen that a few times now.
Yeah, last couple of weeks.
Like Doink and Marty did it.
Yep. Last couple of weeks we have seen it a little bit more. Then, out of nowhere, Bobby said that he couldn't wait for next year. And I'm thinking, okay, where's he going with this? He says because he knows that the Guns only wash their jeans on the even years. Just buries the Guns immediately that they smell.
Yeah. Talk about it for like 30 seconds.
Yeah, it came out of nowhere. It's like, what the fuck? You can't wait for next year. What does that mean? So that was a nice little gem that he slipped in there. Back in the ring, Bart and Barry continued with some basic offense. Barry getting the better of Bart. He was even hitting some really solid. He even hit like a solid Northern Lights bridging suplex, like this enhancement guy.
I have that noted as well. I was like, wow, is he about to get a 3 count?
Yeah, it was really good. It was
It was
really
nicely
solid. The
executed.
bridge was really good. But of course, Bart was able to get out of that, and he fought back after a failed double teaming attempt. Billy tagged back in, and you could tell he has no moves. All we've seen from Billy is like drop kicks, punches, a clothesline here and there. Continues to kind of repeat moves. He does this, again, the same drop kick, same clotheslines, kicks, body slams, basic moves. So after a little bit of that, Bart tagged back in, held Barry up on his shoulder long enough for Billy to kind of barely jump off the top turnbuckle to land like a body splash on Barry while Bart kind of dropped him down.
Yeah, like a vertical suplex, like crossbody combo or whatever.
Yeah, it was. I don't really know what Bart did to really have any effect.
Oh, he was just there.
Yeah, it was more or less Bart held him up, and Billy was able to kind of splash him and then kind of go down to the mat with him.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I didn't really like that finish. I was bummed not to see the fucking back body drop into the pile driver, whatever the hell they did last time we saw.
I have noted, like,
Yeah.
that is a way better finisher than what the hell they did.
Oh my god, yeah.
I wonder if they probably realized it's not the brightest thing to do that, like, because someone could break their neck.
Yeah, especially with enhancement guys, you never know if they even know how to take the move.
Yeah.
But still, I was kind of bummed out with that finish. I hope they're still just trying stuff out and they're not going to go with that moving forward. But all things considered, I think it gave the chance for the Guns to shine a little bit more. But still, you can tell these guys really, they're only surface deep still. They really don't have too much depth to them yet. Move, character wise, chemistry wise, nothing.
Yeah, I mean, they've only been here for like a month, TV wise, been here for like a month.
Right.
Like their fans didn't really seem to be all that interested in them anyway. And I do have it noted here that in the beginning, I really thought that Billy Gunn was going to do a DX, like, suck it taunt. But he was just doing his, like, putting his guns back in his holster. Like, his air thing there that he did. I was like, oh my God, he's going to do a DX suck it in 5 years before it was a thing. But,
because he got down in the boots,
yeah, I was like, oh my God. But to me, there's nothing. If anything, the most impressive person on this match is Barry Horowitz.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree.
Because that bridging suplex, I'm like, maybe they should be utilizing him better than what they're doing.
Yeah, not only that too, he was really taking it to Bart Gunn. Like he was beating him down like he was the guy. I was like, holy shit.
He's a smaller guy, but he kind of comes across like a believable wrestler.
Yeah, for sure. And hasn't he been around for a little bit too?
Yeah, he's been around for several years.
Right.
Yeah, he's been around for a while.
Yep.
So coming out of that match, I believe we go back to the commentators, and they talk about Razor and Kid, with Heenan saying that Kid is probably in the hotel right now, hiding under the bed with a dresser in front of the door, counting his money. I think he meant like a sleazy hotel, like a cheap hotel.
Oh, sure. I'm sure he did.
We then see a replay of the closing minutes from last week's match between Ramon and Kid, where he stole $10,000. We get an Ico Pro ad with Lex Luger, and then a WWF Figures ad. And when we return to the arena, Vince McMahon is in the ring once again, this time to interview former WWF Tag Team Champions Ted DiBiase and IRS, also known as Money Incorporated. McMahon notes that they aren't the WWF Tag Team Champions anymore, and then he kind of rubs it in that the Steiner Brothers are the new champions. IRS says being the former champions will not last long for them. He says that the morons should keep their mouths shut. McMahon wants to know if the Irwin chants bother him, because at this point, the fans have been saying Irwin for the entire duration of the segment. But Irwin doesn't answer that. They tossed in a clause following their match with the Steiner Brothers that they would get a rematch. They know how to make a lot of money and keep their money. DiBiase gives an example of holding on to money and how Ramon couldn't hold on to his money against the 1-2-3 kid. They poke fun at Ramon, with IRS saying his name was Razor Jabron. That is a dad joke. I don't know what is.
If you didn't make note of that, dude, I definitely was going
Of
to.
course, Razor Jabron. And I think he had like that like little smirk, like, yeah, I made a good one.
Yeah, he did. He
Get
did.
the fuck out of here. DiBiase says he's a moron and that Ramon didn't keep his cool against Kid. The fans begin to chant Razor as if, they've been told Ramon's a good guy now or something, because 2 or 3 weeks ago they would not be doing that. Mm-hmm. DiBiase says that Kid should have never beaten Ramon. $10,000 is a lot of money to Razor Ramon. DiBiase thinks Ramon should go to school and suggests Ramon go to Michigan, where the Steiner brothers went. So they do like a little cheap shot to Michigan University. DiBiase thinks that the Steiner brothers and Ramon would be the next Three Stooges. DiBiase isn't afraid of Ramon and says that they are easy to find. And DiBiase thinks that Ramon would do well as their personal house servant if he wanted to make some money. What do you think of that?
I hated it. I didn't like this promo at all, other than the nice little line by IRS there. I thought it was an extreme reach as DiBiase basically starts attacking Razor Ramon out of nowhere. He totally diverts his attention from, hey, we just lost the fucking tag team titles, to, oh yeah, and that stupid Razor Ramon guy. It was like a bad Jerry Seinfeld thing. Like, he's talking about one thing, he's like, and then how about this? It's like, what does that have to do with anything?
Well, I kind of get the context of it. Ramon putting up 10 grand. DiBiase being the millionaire guy that he is, kind of rubs it in that 10 grand to Ramon's a lot of money, but to him it's nothing. So I can see how that comes. But you're right. The transition into Ramon from the Steiner brothers doesn't, like, McMahon didn't ask him anything about Ramon or anything of that nature. So it was kind of a random diversion. But I mean, there is context in there that I can see why a heel DiBiase would want to rub it in there.
Yeah, I don't know. It almost just seemed like, I don't really have much to say about this, so fuck this guy. You know what I mean? It's just like I said, it felt like a reach, like he was reaching to make something out of nothing. I think if, the former tag team champions aren't talking about the current tag team champions, more or less a singles guy's talking to about another singles guy, I was just very confused. We're still in the midst of one situation and you're opening up a brand new one.
Well, I mean, at the start they did. We'll have a rematch against the Steiners, all this stuff, whatever. So they're keeping, they tie it all in there too. Like, oh, go to Michigan, they can be the Three Stooges or whatever.
I don't know. I didn't like it. I thought, to me, it didn't make much sense. Why would Ted DiBiase, a millionaire guy, care about a guy who just lost 10 grand? Like, who cares?
Well, he's rubbing it in. It's like the context of, oh, well, to Razor Ramon, losing $10,000 probably is a lot of money. But to me, it's not a lot of money, and like, I wouldn't have even lost in that situation anyway. I would have kept my money.
But why does Ted DiBiase care?
Because he's a heel.
Razor Ramon's got nothing to do with it.
He's supposed to be a heel and like have people be mad at him.
I would have said, geez, yeah, the Steiners are the new tag team champions, but we still make more money than they do. So who's the real morons?
Yeah, but but you don't want to just keep it to that. They're branching it out. I thought it was fine for what it was.
I don't know.
It was definitely designed to tell the fans, hey, Ramon's going to be a good guy now.
Yeah, and that Ted will be probably working a program with him.
Yeah.
I just thought it was a little bit intelligence insulting because it's basically telling you what's going to happen. I don't know. It was like it wasn't
like a natural thing. Like they forced it.
It was like, yeah, it was like it was like a direct thing. There's no interaction between the two ever. It's just out of nowhere. I don't know. For that reason, I felt like it was a little bit lazy, and I didn't like it.
Well, this kind of reminds me of what we were saying a couple weeks ago, how like Ramon could have gone to them and be like, "Yo, give me some money," and
Yeah.
he could have lost the money and then do something
Then
like that.
now tie it in.
Yeah,
There you
something
go.
like that. Right.
Right. Right. For it to, it's like two different puzzle pieces that they just jam together. It's like you could have made something out of that, but instead you were just like, oh, fuck it. Here you go.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I can see where you're saying, but I thought it was okay. I like DiBiase, so
I don't know. For me, he's mailing it in at this point. For me, he's mailing it in.
well, you're probably right. He probably knows he's close to the end. But coming out of that segment, we got our third match of the night, and is Adam Bomb. I think one of our personal favorites here so far on Icopod. He is taking on PJ Walker, who is not just the coolest and he's not just the best. Boy, he's the future just incredible. I have it noted here that Johnny Polo is now the manager of Adam Bomb, for Adam Bomb, I should say. And I just want to point out here, Mike Campbell, one of our listeners from the beginning, he sent me a message on the good old Facebook, which again lost $17 billion today. He noted that there was a story where Adam Bomb, also known as Brian Clark, literally thought that Johnny Polo was supposed to carry his bags and stuff like that. Like kind of be his own personal like ring boy.
Right.
And Polo had to tell him, no, man, I'm just your manager on TV. I'm not your actual like errand boy.
Right.
Which I never heard that. It was probably in a shoot interview or something, but I thought that was kind of funny. That
I believe it.
Mom was like, "Go get my bags, kid."
Yeah.
Yeah.
To this guy who's been in the business a lot longer than he has already at this point.
Yeah, we haven't like this is a random debut, right, for Polo. We haven't seen Johnny Polo yet.
He came out with Adam Bomb before.
He did? I thought it was Whippleman.
He did. I didn't like the pairing. I remember you saying you did like the pairing. But yeah, he wasn't.
Wait a minute. So we've already seen Polo?
Yeah, he's been with Adam Bomb already.
Wow, I totally forgot about that. Then
No, Johnny Polo though he wasn't really wearing like the whole captain's outfit though before. It was just he came out I think in maybe a Hawaiian shirt or some bullshit like that.
yeah, I mean, I don't really understand what Johnny Polo is. He's like a rich kid, right? I'm assuming.
Oh, your guess is as good as mine.
Yeah, I don't know what his actual character is. I think he's supposed to be like a snobby kid or something. I don't know.
Yeah, and I don't know how that ties into a fucking Adam Bomb mutant. I don't know.
Maybe it's like the human toy that his parents gave him to keep him happy or something.
Here you go, kid.
Here you go, kid. Have this deranged looking guy. Just give him colored contacts and give him a bunch of red Tootsie Pops and his tongue will look all red. And you just call him Adam Bomb. It'd be great.
Easy.
Thanks, Mom. Great.
Yeah, right. You know, as far as the comments from Mike Campbell, I completely could believe in that. Hey, that's what a good manager should do. Fucking care.
Well, yeah, but I just thought it was funny that I could just picture Adam Bomb backstage, like, "Hey, Polo, go get my fucking bags," and Polo being like, "Dude, no, that's not my job. Like, I'm just supposed to be on TV, like, as your guy. I don't care.
Brian
go get me a coffee."
What an asshole that guy. Doesn't even do what I hired him for. Like, no, damn it, man. It's not
that's
real.
funny. Polo should have lived up with it. He should have got his money from WWF and be like, Bomb, if I'm going to be your fucking guy, I need like some money here. He could have been double dipping. And then Adam Bomb would have gone to WWF and be like, guys, I need more money because I got to pay for this dude. And they would have been like, what are you talking about?
It's not really your fucking bag.
That's not your guy. He probably could have got a couple weeks out of that.
Oh, easily.
Yeah.
Easily.
As for the action here, Bomb starts off with an uppercut and then tosses Walker to the mat. And then he hits a side slam. Walker gets dropped gut first over the top rope and is tossed to the floor. Bomb turns Walker inside out with a short arm clothesline on the floor.
Devastating.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Bomb hits a slingshot clothesline from the apron into the ring, and then he wins with the Atom Smasher, which would be a simple powerbomb. I have a note here that Bomb got pretty much no reaction, similar to the Smoking Guns, but I continue to like to see what I continue to like to see what I'm seeing.
I agree with you. I thought that this squash was very impressive. I want Adam Bomb to slam Yokozuna. Like I want him to do it.
Yeah, that would be an interesting choice.
I would really, really enjoy that, especially after this match. He destroyed poor PJ Walker.
I
Destroyed.
could just see it now. I could see right now Vince McMahon doing the voiceover. You'll never believe what happened on the USS Intrepid. A mutant from the Three Rivers Island explosion, slamming the mighty Yokozuna. Your eyes will turn red after seeing this, or something.
Yeah. Well, you could even play into the atom bomb factor that, and
a
that
big
landed on the ship on Sunday. You know what I mean, or whatever. You could easily. I don't know. Yeah, I wanted. That's what I wanted out of it. Of course, I know we're not going to get that because it's way too early for that. And I couldn't help but to notice, and maybe I'm way off with this. I don't know. I get these flashes for people. So, is it me, or does Adam Bomb kind of look like Hangman Page a little bit?
I can see that.
Just a little, not major.
No, I can see the similarity. I mean, that's better than the other comparisons you've made on this show.
Wow, thanks, Bob. Thanks for just fucking stabbing me right there. Right.
I'm just saying, what didn't you say? Like Skinner looked like Elias or something like that?
Fucking dude, he does.
Yeah, that's a stretch.
He does.
It's a stretch.
Bullshit. But no, I think Adam Bomb's in a really good spot right now. I look forward to continuing on with him. And that fucking powerbomb, when he goes down with the guy,
it makes it look better.
Yeah, it adds to it so much.
Yeah.
So I'm a fan. I'm still a fan.
All right, I'm still a fan too. Let's see how long that continues on for. Another video promoting the Body Slam Challenge is shown. So again, Hogan couldn't do it, so whoever can, they're going to be your hero.
Yep.
And that leads us to our main event for the evening. It is Crush taking on Bastion Booger. You're shaking your head no already, so I'll let you talk about this one.
Well, we're back in the arena, and immediately back, we see a woman eating a WWF ice cream bar. This is typical marketing on their point. Last couple of, I'd say, month or two, they've been doing this. They'll come back to the arena. Kids are eating the ice cream. Women are eating the ice cream. Families. Really pushing them goddamn ice cream bars. So pick yourself up one of those.
Well, they were delicious, weren't they?
I don't know.
You never had one?
No.
I never had one either.
Yeah, okay. Well, going right into the match here. Bastion Booger, he was in the ring awaiting Crush. And that guy's fucking gross. He looks gross.
Did I mention to you yet that was the Mad Monk?
I picked up on it.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think we formally addressed it, but yes, that's
okay.
what I assumed. I'll be honest with you, I like the Monk better than Bastion Booger.
Really, I kind of like Bastion Booger better.
Oof. Yeah, no,
I feel like I can just relate to him because as I'm like, if I'm laying on the couch watching the show, and I'm just shoving Doritos into my mouth, I can look on the screen and be like, you know what? If Booger can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
So I feel like I can relate to him.
Fair enough. All you need is the hump on your back.
Oh, it's getting there.
Crush came down to the ring with no energy. He was just kind of moseying to the ring. And Heenan said that this Bastion Booger guy should have an expiration date on him. He smells so bad. Oh. And he says that Hillary Clinton's half-brother is Bastion Booger because they have the same smile. Just Booger has more teeth. I was like, holy shit, Bobby Heenan. Just going right for the throat on that one. Or the smile in this case.
Yeah.
I thought Bastion Booger looked like he was wearing a fat suit, but it's real fat. It was very weird. His legs aren't as fat as his body is. So he almost looks like a turtle. A big turtle.
No, he does. Yeah.
So that's weird. The crowd really wanted Crush to slam Bastion Booger. like in the start of the match to kind of, I think they were on the hype train for the body slam challenge. So they were really hyping Crush up. So Crush set up, we got kind of into the action a little bit, and Crush set up for a back body drop. And Bastion Booger, when they hit, Booger kind of stopped. And when he hit him, he just rolled slowly over the side of Crush and down. You could tell he was sandbagging the fuck out of Crush.
It is the worst back body drop I've ever seen.
It was horrible, and it was so bad to the point that Crush, you can see literally his mouth say, "God damn," after he lands. Like, it was so fucking heavy, like, God damn it. You know what I mean?
It might have been goddamn, like, goddamn, man, you fucking suck.
Yeah. Well, either way.
The crowd was even like, ugh.
Yes.
Like, kind of laughing, like, okay, this guy's a joke.
It was hilarious. I laughed when I saw it. And then I really laughed when Crush said, "God damn."
Yeah.
Like, holy fuck. So that kind of set the tone for this one. Booger got Crush to crash into the ring post, and Bobby just kept pointing out Booger's hump on his back while they were on the ringside area. And then I really started paying attention to it, and it was very distracting. I also think that gray is a very unflattering color for Bastion Booger. He almost looks like, have you ever seen the dollar store wrestling toys where they got one and it's like a lucha libre guy, and you know he's made after like Sin Cara, but it's just a really like a cheap, shitty, basic outfit, different mask. Bastion Booger reminds me of that for Vader. He's like the dollar store Vader. He's like the generic ripoff, not even close, but you can tell what they were going for, kind of thing.
Maybe even like on clearance at the dollar store.
Yeah, like that's a 25-cent toy.
Yeah.
Like he can't even pose him. He's just a static figure.
It was manufactured poorly, so we gotta get rid of it.
Yeah. So that's what I couldn't help put together here. With that said, Booger stayed in control for the next few minutes of the match, and he was just selling his fatigue by yelling, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah." Like that was his selling, and it was so annoying.
Well, that wasn't his selling. That was probably just his breathing.
No, that too. Yeah, probably. It was very heavy. He wasn't. That's probably exactly what it was. I think the crowd started to get a little bit fed up here, and they just started chanting for Crush to crush Booger's head. So they were doing like the hand crush thing, like, please just fucking end it, like kill this guy. So Crush breaks out of a bear hug, slams Booger 3 times in a row to get the pin. And I got the sense that maybe they did this whole hype of the slam for this match to maybe foreshadow a little something, you know what I mean?
That's what I took from it.
That's what I took from it too. And I'll tell you what, if Crush is the man to slam Yoko, I quit. I go bot. I ain't watching no more shit.
You don't want to have the guy from Hawaii as your role model and hero to combat Yokozuna?
No.
Wow.
No.
I thought it was pretty funny about the scoop slam. So that was like the major story of the match was him like not being able to do it, and then he does it 3 times
in a row.
Yeah.
With
kind of like killing the story.
Right.
And then just pins him after that.
Yeah, I thought that was shit, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it was like 5 minutes. I mean, it could have been a lot worse, but it was pretty bad. But like if Booger has a hump on his back, should he not be getting pinned?
It keeps his shoulders up off the mat.
I would have to think that.
It really is too. It looks like there's a basketball behind his neck.
Well, I mean, I know there was like a team. It was an idea in WCW, like Jim Herd or somebody like that. It was like, why don't we have the like the ding dongs or something like that, and they would have these humps on their back, and then they could never lose. Oh. Maybe that's what Bastion. Well, I mean, he lost, I guess. But,
fuck that.
Great idea, Bastion Booger.
No,
that was pretty bad though. I mean, I don't think. Bastion Booger. I think they have like a year of this guy too, so we might see him quite a bit. Yeah, quite a bit more.
Oh no, Bob! A year?
I'm pretty sure, like close to a year. Maybe not a whole year, because we're in late June now, 93. He's there probably for like 8. I'm gonna say 8 months. 8 months to a year. We have to deal with that.
No.
So coming out of the main event, we see like a video here of Randy Savage at the New York Giants Stadium. He's joined by Joe Morrison. And Morrison says Yokozuna is going to go down. And then Savage puts his sunglasses on Morrison and they play to the camera. So
Yeah. This football guy says he's going to slam Yokozuna for the Macho Man, the Giants fans, and the USA. And just seeing stats. So when we open up, the camera kind of zooms up to Savage, who's standing basically on the 50-yard line.
yeah.
And it's so funny to see Savage in full gimmick under the lights on a football turf. What the fuck is this? And then of course the guy comes in, but I thought it was a very weird. Like, is this a really good football guy?
I couldn't tell you.
Well, I was gonna say because he got his own little thing with Macho Man here.
Yeah, no, I had to would have to assume they did that because they're in fucking New York.
Yeah,
So probably we can just go down to the stadium.
yeah. It seems like they were really trying to kind of push this guy as one of the serious contenders to slam Yoko.
Yeah, I don't.
I, yeah, it's just nothing for me on that one.
All right, well, we get a Slim Jim ad with Randy Savage and then another WWF Royal Rumble video game ad. We go to the commentary team and they talk about the highlights. Heenan liked Diesel punching Kamala, while Savage liked Crush slamming Bastion Booger. If you're like, wow, those are pretty unexciting moments, you're right. Next week, the 1-2-3 Kid, Bastion Booger, and Mr. Perfect will all be in action. Plus, we will see footage from the Stars and Stripes challenge. McMahon thinks that someone out there will slam Yokozuna. Heenan says that Fuji will rename the USS Intrepid to being named USS Yokozuna. And that wraps up the June 28th Raw.
Oh boy.
Well, I'll tell you right now. I mean, just what they described for next week. I mean, they didn't mention any kind of feature match or anything.
Right.
So I'm just assuming those three guys will just be fighting, like enhancement guys. So that doesn't all that interesting.
Right.
And I don't even want to know about the body slam. Who knows?
Yeah, and you know what? My whole takeaway so far for this body slam challenge thing is I thought up until about this point that we were going to get, like, that Sunday, they were going to do a full wrestling card, but that was kind of like the main facet of it.
Yeah, you would think like a house show
Yeah,
on the Intrepid, and then the main event of it would be like the body slam challenge.
that's what I thought. But from my understanding, it's literally just the whole thing is the body slam challenge.
Yeah.
It's with the whole. It's like a public exercise thing. It's the whole thing. I was like, oh fuck, that sucks. I was hoping we'd see cool little matches with a nice little backdrop of being on this ship. Like, oh, that's interesting and different. Oh no, we're not getting that. It's
Yeah.
literally just the Stars and the Stripes body slam challenge. It's like, oh fuck.
I thought the same thing. I was like, oh, cool. You know, we'll a couple of matches on there and body slam challenge. And instead, it's just, I mean, as a fan, I wouldn't go down there just for a body slam challenge.
No.
I wonder how many people went down there. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
No
I've been here for 3 hours. This is all I got.
Yes. Yeah, that sucks. I thought that sucked. I think that was a huge missed opportunity. You know, having matches, quote unquote, at sea. Having matches at sea. There you go.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was bummed about that. I thought this week's Raw was very lackluster. One of the worst ones we've seen in a little while. As far as just excitement wise, it wasn't very exciting at all. A lot of guys that we haven't seen. Luger, we haven't seen a while. I feel like
Since the King of the Ring.
yeah, Adam Bomb. It's about time he showed back up. I feel like we haven't seen him in a while.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some talents that we're missing. There's some talents they were able to squeeze in this week, but as far as skippable or must see, definitely skippable for me.
Yeah, I would consider this to be a pretty bad Raw. I mean, I enjoyed the DiBiase or Money Incorporated segment more than you did.
Yeah.
But that's not a show saving type of segment or anything. And then the feature matches, if you want to even call them that, were nothing. So.
Yeah, and even the promo with Yoko and that kind of stuff. I don't know. I couldn't sink my teeth into any specific match or segment on this show. I wasn't pulled in by really much of anything, which sucks. But
They might have done that on purpose because, um, as you as you know, and as all the listeners will know, that starting next week, shit's about to go down, and I've done the math on it, and I'm pretty sure that this is going to be the like in terms of angles that we've had,
yeah,
this is going to be like the longest running one
oh boy,
that we have starting next week because I think that angle, I'm not going to mention specifics, I think it lasts about like 8 months.
oof,
And I think for us, the longest one we've had was like 2 months, like Beefcake and Money Inc. or whatever. But that wasn't even
yeah,
continued
yeah,
continuously or anything. So
hmm,
should be interesting.
yeah,
So we both pretty much give the June 28th, 1993 edition of Raw thumbs down.
yeah, yeah. No real reason to go out of your way to watch it.
Yeah. So I figured since that was, I guess, a boring episode, that we can finish this episode with the mid-year awards.
Hmm.
I don't know if I have any listener feedback on this because I haven't scrolled down far enough to notice, but let's just go with the awards as I choke on air. And do you want to do yours first or what do you want to do?
We could. I know there were some people who wrote on the Facebook.
Yes, I have that. I have those guys on my sheet here. So
All right, well, I'll go first then.
do you want me to do the readers first and we do ours? Or not readers, listeners first and then we do ours? Or you want to do ours first and then the listeners?
Let's do the listeners first.
All right, let's go to the listeners first.
Yeah.
All right, so the first one I got here is Michael Vincent,
Hmm.
who is another longtime listener, really enjoys the podcast, and we appreciate taking the time to listen here. So the categories, we'll go through them. I'm not going to do them individually, but we'll just you'll know the categories.
Right.
Wrestler of the mid-year for Michael would be Shawn Michaels. Tag team of the mid-year, Steiner Brothers. Feud of the mid-year, Ramon against the 1-2-3 Kid. The shocking moment would be Kid beating Ramon. Most underrated wrestler, Bret Hart. Most overrated, Hulk Hogan. Want to see more of Repo Man.
Ooh.
Want to see less of Hulk Hogan. I was
Oh,
surprised by the Repo Man one.
yeah, yeah.
I like Barry Dorso, but not to the point of wanting to see more of him.
Oh
We have Mick Price.
wait, how about his guilty pleasure? He didn't have one?
He didn't have one. He did not write down. I'm assuming Repo Man.
Oh, okay.
That's what I would assume. Mick Price. His wrestler of the mid-year is Bret Hart. Tag team of the mid-year, Steiner Brothers. Feud of the mid-year, Ramon versus Kid. Shocking moment of the mid-year, the Smoking Guns backdrop into the pile driver. Most
Oof.
underrated wrestler of the mid-year is Doink. Most overrated is Hogan. Want to see more of the Steiner screwdriver. And then he's has a noted here that he can't wait to see if we will veer off slightly into January of '94 to watch the Steiners and Harts match, which was taped for Coliseum Video.
Yeah,
I would have to assume, Mick, that we will.
yeah, yeah.
I don't believe it's uploaded to the network yet, but I'm sure there's a way that we could check it out.
Sure.
I want to see less of Kamala. That was a brutal time.
Hey,
Hey, you didn't say kimchi. You said Kamala.
that's true. That's true.
Guilty pleasure. The Steiner Brothers squashes. They are most definitely like a car crash where you don't want to look, but you can't turn your head.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah. Mike Campbell, another regular here. Wrestler of the mid-year, Bret Hart. And he says, based on the strength of the Rumble match versus Razor and the Raw match with Fatu. And I also want to know, I mean, the match with Yoko, for what it was surprisingly better than what I was anticipating.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Tag team of the mid-year, the Steiner Brothers. Feud of the mid-year, Razor and the Kid. Shocking moment of the mid-year is Kid beating Razor Ramon. Most underrated wrestler of the mid-year is Doink the Clown. We expect great matches from guys like Brett and Perfect, but nobody sees a Doink the Clown match and expects it to be any good.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of is what my sentiment. Like,
Yeah.
You know, every time, like, a couple weeks ago, I was like, oh, I fucking hate this guy, but I know his matches are going to be, they end up being better than you anticipate or whatever. Most overrated wrestler of the mid-year is he's going to go with the Mega Maniacs, only because I can't really think of anyone who was highly thought of and didn't deserve to be.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Want to see more of big moments like Kid beating Razor, Jannetty surprising Shawn, and Brutus getting clobbered with the briefcase. Wants to see less of Kamala. It was nice that they tried something new by putting him with Slick and making him a good guy, but the horse has left the barn, cowboy.
You're damn right it is.
Yeah, he's
Shaman.
not wrong on that one.
Yeah.
Guilty pleasure is the feud between Sensational Sherry and Luna just for the promos.
Mm, okay.
And then I believe it's the last one I have here. Joe Mitchell, who did this, I think, a couple days ago for us. Joe Mitchell, wrestler of the mid-year, Yokozuna. He says, "What a year he's having." Tag Team of the Year, Money Incorporated. Feud, Perfect versus Luger. Sad we never really got a payoff. That kind of surprises me.
Yeah, yeah.
For a feud of the year there. Underrated is Doink. Overrated is Crush. And he says, man, was he the shits.
Yeah, I like this guy.
He wants more of Bobby Heenan announcing, less of Todd Pettengill.
Oh,
And guilty pleasure, I really enjoyed that ridiculous Nasty Boys and Head Shrinkers food match way more than it deserved. It was just so far out of left field that I liked it.
okay. Fair enough.
That's a guilty pleasure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, Bob. I'll go next. I'll belt mine off here. I'm surprised to see one of them. One of the guys there. I was pretty close. Is it me or are all our fans named fucking Joe and Mike?
No, there's Joe, there's Mike, Mick.
Oh, Mick.
There's Mick. Well, I mean, Joe and Mike is common names.
All right. Well, fair enough. One of the mics in there I was pretty close with my list. Let me tell you, dude, I had a kind of a tough time making this. I went back and forth on a couple things. Bar none, though, I think the half-year wrestler of the half year was definitely Bret Hart for me. I think Bret has kind of had a significant impact on 1993 Raw and pay-per-view schedules. I think without Bret, we would have felt a major hole in the roster. I think he really, really is the glue here, kind of holding the thing still together. So I had to give it to him. I definitely agree. I think Steiners are the tag team of the half year. Every time they're on, you want to see them, which in the tag team division right now is very important. I'd say probably the only team that I can say that about. So yes, I would agree for that for the Steiners. Feud of the half year, it was a toss up for me. I I really liked the Sherry and Luna stuff. I really did, and it carried over for so long since what WrestleMania or a little bit before that. So I have really liked that, but of course I think Razor and Kid like that. That's hard to argue for that one being the best one. But I couldn't choose. I really really like the Sherry and Luna stuff just because it feels so different. Um, Especially with two women, two out of left field women. I did. I liked that so far this year in '93. As far as most underrated, I think hands down it goes to Doink the Clown. You can't help but to, for me, you can't help but to enjoy Doink the Clown matches. Whether or not he's doing big moves or not, there's a certain special thing that Matt Bourne's able to do to keep at least my attention when he's on the screen. Whether it's a little smirk or it's digging his knuckles into the guy's face behind the ref's back while he's got him in a headlock, or just little things that we've gone over for months and months and months now. I think hands down, Doink doesn't get nearly the love and credit that he deserved in 1993. As far as overrated, this one's gonna hurt Bob a little bit.
Don't do it.
I'd say Tatanka.
You son of a bitch.
I'd say Tatanka. I think the fans love him, and that's great for the fans. I have yet to see really a remarkable Tatanka match. I mean, him and Shawn at Mania was good. It was a good opener, but
That's because of Shawn, though, right?
yeah, exactly. He nailed it there. Yeah, I have to say Tatanka. I almost put Undertaker in there. I almost put Undertaker in there.
For most overrated.
Yes. Yeah. But no, I think just from a featured standpoint, I have Tatanka being that guy for me. I'd like to see more of Adam Bomb, of course, because I think he's definitely one of my favorites we've seen in '93 so far, as far as like a quote unquote new talent goes. Definitely kind of towards the top of the pile there. As far as seeing less of, fucking Bob Backlund. Don't want to see his ass anymore. I want to see less of Bob Backlund than I want to see less of Papa Shango at this point. So please.
Well, I mean, at least Shango's like a character.
Yes. Yes. At least there's kind of something there still. No,
Yeah.
I'm done with Bob Backlund. Guess who my guilty pleasure was?
Kimchi.
You're goddamn right. Kim fucking Chi.
I don't understand it.
Yes. I also added in my own little category, and it says worst thing we've seen thus far in 1993.
Okay.
Mad Monk. He was horrible.
Well, I mean, Bastion Booger for sure.
Well, now,
Yeah.
now, but just the whole character and the moves and the no shoes and he put your head under his fucking outfit. Yeah, just no. Mad Monk for me. Horrible.
Yeah. I guess I will divulge my awards here. Wrestler of the Mid-Year, Brett.
Yeah.
Tag team of the Mid-Year would be Steiners.
Mm-hmm.
Feud of the Mid-Year is Kid Ramon.
Yeah.
Shocking moment, Kid beating Ramon.
Oh, I didn't do my shocking moment.
What's your shocking moment?
Mine was Jannetty returns and wins the belt.
See, now that as soon as I said Kid winning over Ramon, I thought I'm surprised that nobody said Jannetty against Shawn. But I remember when we did that episode, you were like, I did not think it was Marty Jannetty.
Yes. That's why for me that was mine for sure.
All right, who do you think I said for most underrated wrestler? And I think we've gotten like a small sample size, but I still did it.
Don't tell me you put Bob Backlund here.
No.
I don't know.
Fatu.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Just based off his match with Brett alone, it's like that guy, he's capable of something.
Yes, I agree with that for sure.
Most overrated wrestler of the Mid-Year, I gave that award to Mr. Perfect.
You know what? I almost did too. did too.
I would like to see more of Tatanka.
Oh, Bob.
But also Adam Bomb, though. Adam Bomb.
Yes.
Adam Bomb for sure as well. I want to see less of Virgil.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good one.
If we never see him again, that would be, I guess, ideal.
That's your guy, Bob.
Just bad. And then my guilty pleasure is Lex Luger, but the narcissist Lex Luger. I want to emphasize.
Yes.
Narcissist.
Right.
That'd be my guilty pleasure.
I guess, Bob. I never really understood it, but
it seems like we all, for the most part, had like the same stuff there. So it kind of shows you like they're not really giving you many options.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, let's say if we were to do like the year 2000, if we get to that point, or like 99, who knows what the hell it could be then? Shocking moments could be, the birth of a hand and, all these other various things.
Right.
But right now it just seems like it's by the books.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty simple stuff.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's interesting too that it's more or less a preference thing, these lists for sure. Yeah. But I would say 4 out of the 6 of the people put Bret Hart as the wrestler of the half year. Same with Steiners, Razor Ramon Kid.
Did anybody not have Bret as their?
Yeah, somebody said Shawn Michaels.
Oh, that's right. I think Mike did.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Somebody said Yokozuna, which I think is an interesting choice.
I have really bad short-term memory because like we literally just did this and I just asked that. But yeah, you're right.
Right.
Yoko and Shawn.
wrestler of the first 3 months of the year, Yokozuna. I would say half year, not so much.
Yeah, it's kind of like a wash.
Yeah,
The first 3 months is good, and then the last 3, it's like, oh,
right.
I totally agree with what you said there.
Break even.
Yep.
But yeah, you know what? It's like you said. I think fans realize the good and the bad, and for it to be that black and white, I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing, but at least they're doing some things right. And fans are picking up on that. So, with all things considered, I'd say first 6 months of Raws and pay per views, 93 better than I thought. Especially coming in not knowing or seeing very much of 93. I was, I would say, for the most part, pleasantly surprised that A, got through it as easily as I did, and B, even enjoyed, I would say at least half, if not most, of the stuff.
Well, I was just gonna say, I feel like there's been better, far better good than bad to
Yeah,
this point.
yeah.
And these shows are legitimately like between 45 and 45 to 47 minutes long. And each time it's like a kind of a breeze
Yeah, yeah, and you know
compared
what?
to watching three. I haven't watched current day wrestling TV wise in about 3 or 4 months,
I'm same way.
but it's like a drastically way easier way of watching pro wrestling. No
Yeah,
doubt about it.
and it's so funny you bring that up. So I met Scott Hall over this past weekend.
Okay, that's what we call a name drop.
Oh, just saying. I didn't want to do it that way, but you kind of
Jesus
forced me.
Christ. It's like I had dinner with Kamala.
Were you guys having legs?
Oh, wow. Wow.
So anyway, before I was doing um, so yes, I met Scott Hall and I brought up our podcast to him, and I was like, listen, he said,
Oh, okay. He was probably like, okay, Mark, bye.
no, he didn't. He listen to my story. You're the
Okay,
motherfucker.
good.
All right, so yeah, he was signing my stuff here that I had for him, and I brought up to him. I was like, everybody always talks about your WCW stuff and that sort of stuff, but '93 for you, there's some good stuff that happened in '93, and nobody ever talks about it. And he was kind of thinking about it, and he goes, "Yeah, and you know what? Too, just overall, think about it. An hour of TV, you were able to watch and be like, oh my god, I can't wait to see what happens next week. You put the stuff on today, or even in 1999." And there's just so much to go through and digest. It's like you don't even pay attention to the whole show. So I think when I brought up kind of that era to him, I think the thing he mostly remembered about it was how easy it must have been for him and other guys to work an hour long show and get the most out of that hour that they could have. Um, but yeah, I thought that was interesting. But I had to bring that up to him because, like I said, Razor Ramon's remembered for the ladder match. That's it. Like nobody talks about 1993 Razor Ramon, him versus Bret Hart at the Royal Rumble. Nobody ever talks about that stuff. I wanted to bring him
Right.
up. He said, but that was his kind of takeaway from it. He goes, "Yeah, it's all good stuff because it's so easily digestible. You're able to watch it quick and be ready for the next episode."
Well, I like one of the last things modern wise, or like this year wise, that I watched was like when Braun Strowman got fired or whatever.
I don't even know. Yeah.
Well, there was a point where like Braun Strowman got fired on television, and they literally killed the angle within an hour. And they did like I don't even know. I can't remember how many backstage segments they did, but probably between like 6 and 8.
They just brought him back like you're hired again.
Literally by 9 o'clock.
Oh God.
I'm not even kidding you. He was fired at like 8, like when the show opened, and by about like 9:15, he was rehired. And he flipped the freaking production truck and everything. I just recently watched the video again on YouTube or whatever. I was scrolling through Facebook, and it's funny you say that because I was just thinking, I was like, if this happened in '93,
Yeah,
they would have dragged that out for like 3 months,
for sure. For sure.
and they literally lasted 45 minutes before he got rehired and put right back in the main event match with Lesnar and Kane.
Yeah. That'd be like, all right,
What
now
the
think of it
hell?
this way. That'd be like Lex Luger getting fired at the beginning of Raw. and then in a backstage segment, he gets hired back.
By the end of the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense.
No.
And it's stupid. It's not believable.
I know. It just, I don't know. That stuff just blows my mind. But he's right, though. Scott Hall's right. Having, 45 minutes of programming.
Right.
And now they have to fill so much time that you can't really sit there and be like, oh, I can't wait for next week because they've done most of it that week to begin with.
Right.
That's what happens, though, when you have the almighty dollar, and they're like, oh, well, if we make 200 grand a show, but if we add an extra hour, we can double it. Oh, that'd be okay. And then you get to that point, like, oh, we can make $1 million if we go to 3 hours. Like, well, we might as well go to 3.
Right.
Going to 3 hours was a huge mistake. 2 hours is like barely allowed.
Well,
to me.
not to mention, but think of it this way, man. What do you get? 2 pay-per-views a month. You get SmackDown Tuesday, Raw Monday. You get NXT. Half the time they're doing specials with the UK or the women. You're getting 80 hours on, fucking, that's an exaggeration. You're getting like 80 hours of programming in 1 week.
Well, like when I was reviewing it, like reviewing all the shows up until April, because I thought it would be a great idea, and it was not. It was what? It was Raw Mondays, SmackDown on Tuesdays. I'd get home from work on Wednesday, watch NXT, which was like 50 minutes. Easiest thing to watch.
Right.
And then on Thursdays, I would watch Impact. I think Fridays I didn't have anything, and Saturdays, and then Sundays was Ring of Honor.
Right.
But then there's like Friday, Saturdays. Like if I wanted to watch an independent show, there's like 9 of those a fucking day. So it's insane how much professional wrestling is available. I mean, it's insane.
Not only that, but it's all the same style.
Oh my God. Yeah.
There's nothing different.
I was watching an AAW show before we started doing this today.
Yeah.
And I think I watched like 4 matches, and each one had a cannonball splash in the corner.
Yeah.
Each match will have a fucking suicide dive to the floor. They're all this. You're right. They're all the same. And when you watch it in '93, they're not all the same. No. Bastion Booger's not going to go do a fucking suicide dive. And if he did, well, 2 people are dying because one will be via suicide and one will be homicide. So.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what, man? That's the whole thing about it. I think, and especially for me, I've never not watched Raw. Never.
I haven't watched it in months.
For me to not be watching and being okay, like on a Monday, dude, I can put it on, but I won't. I choose not to.
Well, here's the thing. So, my work schedule changed, and if it changed like 6 months ago, I probably would have been annoyed because I was like, oh, I won't be able to watch
wrestling.
Yeah, I won't be able to watch Raw or anything. But now it's like I don't fucking care.
Oh yeah.
I was at least watching the pay-per-views. I have not watched Extreme Rules. I have no interest in checking that out.
I haven't watched any of the pay-per-views.
I don't know if I'm even going to watch SummerSlam when that comes around. I'm really just kind of sticking to independent wrestling.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, maybe I should try to give Impact another shot because I guess they're doing pretty well. But
and it's so funny too. Just to circle back, for me to go out of my way to turn on the network and take notes of 1993 WWF programming sounds ridiculous, but I'd much rather be doing that than kicking back and turning on Raw in 2018.
Oh yeah.
But that just goes to show, you know what I mean?
I think we're in the same boat, and I think there's people listening to this who are the same way.
Yeah.
Each week they can't wait for another episode of IcoPod.
Right. And look at that. You're so excited you just screwed up our name.
I said IcoPod.
You kind of stumbled a little bit. You pulled a Kamala and stumbled.
I'm still drunk.
Right.
Jerk.
Yeah, no, that's true.
God.
All right. Get us out of here, Bob.
All right. Well, you guys can always hit us up on IcoPod on Facebook. Sure, they lost $17 billion, but we never had $17 billion, so we can't lose it. So we're winning today. Right?
We're always winning.
That's what I say. You can also hit us up at icopodcast@gmail.com, whether you've listened from the beginning or maybe you're going back and listening. We'll read your shit on air. I know next week I got stuff I got to read from someone that wants to talk about WrestleMania 9. So send them along. Okay. For Austin Skinner, I'm Bob Conlon Jr., and you've been listening to IcoPod.
You gotta hear it.